guess, episode 3, technically. Or if you want to, just part 2 of the previous episode we're doing.
Part 2. Yeah, part 2.
Okay. Talking about like what it means to be a woman. Where we kind of left off was just pretty much saying we have to involve men in like what it like involve them in feminism. Yes. Like just allow them to be part of
you off.
allow them to be part of like the discussion and allow like their wants, their desires to be like understood and heard the same way that we want it to be from like women, and just like create a more balanced and positive environment for both sexes. This part, or part 2, is going to be more about like sexuality and kind of what does that mean in terms of being a woman. I guess from my point of view, like I didn't necessarily get a definition for this because I think that defining sexuality, like you can use a textbook and I don't know. I just feel like your own personal definition is going to be better than what a textbook is. For me, like I feel like your sexuality is an ever growing, ever flowing like entity or part of who you are. I do think that like once you hit puberty, or once you start understanding your own sexual desires, are obviously different. There are certain things that you're like, okay, I think this is interesting, or I think that this resonates with me. But that does not mean that that's what you're always going to find attractive or what you're always going to find sexy or like what you're desiring in another person. And I think for me personally, like my sexuality has definitely grown later in my 20s than it did when I was like in high school, or even really when I first got to college. Like I definitely think it's something that has like expanded as I got into a long-term relationship, and B, just like didn't care anymore about the stereotypes. Because I will say growing up, I didn't want to be that stereotype. So I didn't want to have like a teen pregnancy. I didn't want to be like the school hoe or whatever it was. Like I didn't want any other, like I feel as if being a woman of color and being in predominantly white spaces, like I didn't want any extra attention. Like I didn't want someone, if you wanted to like know who I was, or there was some like thing about me that people knew, I wanted to be like, oh, well, she's really smart, or she's like really got her shit together, or she's really organized, whatever it may be. I wanted to be something.
That's literally what everyone said about Mayla in high school too, guys. That's literally how people would describe Mayla.
Like I didn't
like 100. She achieved what she was going for,
which probably tracks if you know me. I did not want to be, and it's weird because like as I am a very sexual person, but I did not want to be be seen as a sexual person.
Like I understand that because in different ways. I just feel like I like grew up like being told to be the good girl and literally like not to be a hoe. Like you don't want to be want to be the hoe. Like you don't want to be the hoe. You want to be the good girl. You want to be the good girl. You want to be the good girl. Save yourself. Save yourself. Save yourself.
Exactly. And for me, like
for what?
it wasn't so much like a Catholic upbringing or like a bunch of Catholic school like indoctrination, because I do think there's a lot of indoctrination that happens in religious based schools, Catholic or otherwise. But my dad is a minister, and till this day is a minister, like who used to be a Marine. So take from that what you will, but like that is a very strong belief system, and like these are the rules kind of thing in an environment to grow up in. And like I said, especially as a woman of color, like I didn't want to be a smear or like a stain on our family. Like I didn't want to be that person. And I'm the older child, so like already there's that whole ingrained, like you do what you're supposed to do, you set the way, you only do like what is expected, you don't do anything you're not supposed to do. So like I very much so conformed to that and like made that who I was. Especially when my parents got divorced, it was easy to kind of conform into that identity than to like really experience who I am as a person. And I think that growing up in an environment or I guess in a society really, where like hookup culture has become the thing, and a lot more women are okay with being sexually liberated or sexually free, that has only just allowed me to be open later in life, not necessarily when other people were doing it, 16 to 22, when it was like nobody cares kind of thing. But I mean, people I guess still care, but where you're just not under as much like scrutiny or like, yeah, as you could be at other points in your life. Even though I've read 50 Shades of Grey, I don't know, 16. Whenever it came out, I read it, which so, and I've
I was
even
like afraid of it, so I don't know. I didn't read it.
Wait, what? Why?
When it came out, I was afraid. I was
Why?
like, oh my god, it's like so sexual. I can't watch it. I can't read it.
And it's funny though, because like, and I guess this is like I feel like this is where my,
I mean, I would read it now. I just don't have a lot of time to read anymore.
It's not that good of a story, but I guess this is like kind of where my inner Gemini really shines. It's like I feel like in a lot of, especially my sexuality, I have such a dichotomy, because like who I am as a person and who I am like sexually are not anywhere like close to the same person. But even in like expanding on that, like me reading 50 Shades of Grey, like I guess it was a sexual book, but it wasn't taboo to me. It wasn't like, oh my God, like this is so insane. Like this is so like kinky or whatever. I was just like, whatever. It's a freaking book. Like, I don't know. Like I definitely like could separate myself as a person versus like me reading the person who like, or someone reading a book such as 50 Shades of Grey or numerous other different like erotic novels or romance novels or whatever. Which is definitely a very, like I said, just like two kind of polar opposite like aspects of my personality.
Yeah. What are you spilling your drink now?
It's like condensation.
Sweating, the condensation.
Yeah.
Yeah. What drink does, like, just to take a little side note here, what
I actually we'll call this more like a tequila. It's not tequila, it's vodka. So a vodka sunrise, because it definitely was a predominantly orange juice. I just put a splash of cranberry in. But it's mango vodka and orange juice. It's actually really good.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's definitely very refreshing. The orange juice is just super good especially when it's super cold.
What'd you get, fresh?
No, it's just regular old Simply Made, but
it's Simply Orange.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Yeah, I normally do the one with calcium, but I wasn't the one.
That's what we do. I just went to the grocery store, so
I didn't buy this one, so this one is just like the pulp free one, so whatever. But yeah,
love it.
So I guess my question to you is, I mean, you've kind of already alluded to this, but when did you feel you really were like, I mean, you can say that you haven't yet, but like, when did you really feel like sexually like emboldened or like comfortable, I guess?
Oh my God, I love this question. Never really thought, well, maybe I've thought about it a little bit, but not really like in depth like this. I feel like there's like two parts. Like there's 1.0 and then 2.0. But I will preface with, since I did state, like I grew up with this really Catholic upbringing, blah, 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 blah. My parents were also like really open in a similar sense. So like when it became age appropriate, they were a little more like, woo woo. So anywho, I did when I was like, I lost my virginity at 18. So like when I did, I like told my mom and I was like, look, I gotta tell you something. And you might be mad at me, but I don't really care because I wanted to do it and I don't feel bad about it. And Sheila said she already knew like what I was going to tell her before I told her. And then I was like, I had sex. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so like happy and proud of you that you waited until you were genuinely ready. That's just why I was always harping down your neck. Because like I just wanted you to be able to make the choice yourself and not like let a boy make the choice for you. Which now I do understand. Like I understand like how and why she was kind of working what she was working, even though she could have just said that. But like I think she just really didn't want me to like do it too soon, you know?
Mm.
And I was just like, well, I just like had sex with somebody I wanted to have sex with. Like I didn't like I'm not in love with this person. I just wanted to have sex and it was fun. And she's like, okay, like that's a very adult decision. So clearly you're mature enough for this. And like and that's how that was. That's not the 2.0. That's not 1.0 either. That's just preference. So then I was like I was confident in that sense of like, okay, like I like to do this, right? So then like continued to like do my thing, but like was definitely like in that space of like I felt like it was hard for me for a long time. I was definitely really self-conscious of like everything for so long because of the fact that like I was always told to cover everything up for so long. So like when my like I have big boobs, like you could see. Like well if you're watching YouTube, you can see. Um but like I just feel like it was definitely like I felt like very like exposed a lot of the time, which was very annoying. So it took me like a long time to just be comfortable with all of that, like out and about and open. Even though like I was letting my like sex drive kind of take the wheel. You know what I mean? Like that was definitely like I was like, nah, I'm still gonna go with it even though I'm uncomfortable because like eventually I'll be comfortable. So like I tried to like work through that and drive that car for a while and I was definitely like awkward for a very long time. Even when I met Brendan, I think for years I was still like in this weird like in my head, just like the little things. I wonder how I look in
Mm.
this position, like ew, do I look ugly? Did I make a weird sound? Like was that too like aggressive? Like all the little things in your head that you overthink. But then like as the years went on, because I've been with Brendan now for almost 11 years, if you guys need to know, but as the years went on, it was definitely a situation where like, he was like, stop caring. Cause like, ew, that's weird to care. Like, just do whatever, just be regular. And eventually like working with all of those types of experiences and then kind of tapping into my chakras when I did my yoga teacher training and all of that allowed me to really connect with a space that I wasn't able to connect with being so religious. Not that I'm not religious, not like I believe in God for sure. Organized religion's fascist, as Dave Franco would say. But if you like talking about Jump Street, but I just feel like there was a place of me that felt dirty when I was like severely practicing religion or intensely practicing religion. It made me feel dirty. But like when I tapped into yoga and I tapped into a sense of self and all of these types of things, I realized it was like a sacred space and it was a space to be honored and that you're allowed to choose to give it out how you choose to give it out. There's no like one totem enters the whole. Like that's not how it works. Like it's like your energy is your energy and you give it out when it's full. That's how that works. And so like that works no matter what, whether you're single or in a relationship, right? You don't have sex in a relationship if you're not feeling good. Like last 2 nights I've been like feeling like complete shit, total bitch. I'm PMSing, not in the mood. Like why would I have sex? You know what I mean? That makes no sense.
Mm. Mm.
But if the one day where I cleaned the whole house, I organized everything, I was feeling myself, I was like, got a shower, I was like, I look good. I was like, let's do it. I'm amped up, ready to go. I'm energized. I fueled my cup. My cup is full. Let's pour it out. You know what I mean? And so I feel like just going back to the question of sorry I'm trying to go back to that original question. So that my 1.0 was my experience growing in a relationship, but my 2.0 would definitely be after having kids. I just feel like that definitely just takes the experience like to a whole nother level. Like one, like sex when you're pregnant is pretty cool because you're like we can have real sex and like not worry about getting pregnant because we're already pregnant. So that's pretty fun. So that definitely takes your level of intimacy. I feel like if you're in the right relationship, it will take your level of intimacy to a whole nother level that you just like is very spiritual. You can't explain that. And then I feel like after the baby, there's definitely a little bit of fear. For me, there was a lot of fear, like after the baby, especially after Rowan, because he was not planned. So he was a little surprised, a blessing in disguise though. But a surprise. So we got pregnant very quickly after Troy. And so I was definitely apprehensive after Rowan. But despite that small apprehension that I think a lot of like freshly given birth moms feel, because it's pretty normal from what I read. Despite that, like having that level of connection of like, we have babies and like, you know, I mean, I might sound corny and sappy, but like it really is, we have babies and like I just love you. Like it's not about like it's not like even though some nights are about like the sex part of it and like your physical like agitation and desires and reliefs, it's like leveled with like okay, well sometimes it's just more of like emotional. You know what I mean? And like the physical just goes alongside that. And I feel like that's really cool. So I feel like for me, like my like sexual experience has been very like a slow growth, you know what I mean? Like this little
Mhm.
like a little tiny flower or something that just like takes a really long time to grow and it just pops up and it grows and grows and grows, but then it's this big bush. And it smells really great.
I definitely I definitely feel like that has not been my sexual journey at all. Um
Well, you don't have two kids.
well
So
but just like in general, like
that's
I don't know, like one, so like I didn't lose my virginity until I was 20. I think that's how old it was. I don't know. Um it was like the summer between sophomore and junior year of college. So yeah, 20. Because like I said, I didn't want to be like a teen mom, so I didn't even have sex until I was not a teenager. Um which is such a
you're so literal.
I know. Such a rational, literal thing to do.
20's okay though. If she fucked up and got pregnant at 20, she would have been good to go.
My literal, like my inner Aquarius coming out that moment. Um, which is ironic because my Venus is in Leo. So anyway. And maybe that's also plays a part of it. But I definitely feel like even before I was having like actively having sex, I definitely realized that like my sexual desires and wants were different than like what would be. I mean, I guess now what's considered normal is so like all over the place and askew that like that's not even a thing anymore. But I definitely would not consider myself someone who's like vanilla, quote unquote, which I actually hate using that term because it just sounds so like weird and boring. I don't know, because I actually do enjoy vanilla ice cream, but I do put sprinkles on it though, so whatever.
I was just gonna say something about sprinkles, like making a joke, but never mind.
Yeah, let's leave that joke to yourself. But I don't know, even now, like while I'm definitely more comfortable in who I am sexually, there are definitely some parts where I still have that like second guessing and that like um just uncertainty. Um and definitely like second guess different aspects or whatever. And I think that's part of like as much as people want to like shit on the whole like hookup culture or um like women just having all sex with always different men in college, yada yada. I do think because I did not do that, that's part of why I just still feel so like, oh well, like maybe I shouldn't do that, or maybe like that's like, even though there's nobody else in the bedroom but me and the other person, like there's no one else to judge me but the person who already wants me to do it. So like it's not a rational, like I wouldn't say fear, but like it's not a rational thought. It's like an irrational ingrained aspect of who I am based on like where I came from, how I grew up. And is definitely something that we've had to like, we've discussed and had to like have multiple conversations about in my relationship, just because he's like, I don't care. Like, I want you to do these things. I want you to be this way. So like, I'm not going to go and tell your parents what you're doing. Like it's so like,
Yeah, I know. I
like,
100% that. I
like you
agree.
don't, but it's, and again, it's ironic because like what I actually like
Is
in
what you're
some
afraid to
ways,
do.
and not always or not across the board, but in some ways is like completely different than like what someone would say is, like I said, normal or vanilla or like just average. So like it's weird that like in some instances I'm like, oh my god, I totally want to do this, and then other instances I like second guess it, even though it may not even be as like kinky or whatever as some other things, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I definitely think as I get older, like I literally just do not care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that like, and I don't mean that like in a bad way. Like I just mean I generally don't care. Like if I want to do it, I'm gonna do it. Um,
Well, the older you get, the more you realize it just doesn't really matter that much. Like,
yeah, yeah,
like
that's
I feel like
true.
the older you get too, you also realize, like, even though you're feeling this way, like other people are feeling this way too.
Yeah.
Like this feeling has no like age limit or like limit in when it flows in and out. So like just piggybacking off that for a second, like I feel like, you know, after, because I made everything sound like roses with like my whole life. Like we can like dive into like a hardship for a second, because like it does bother me now. So like for instance, after having the babies, like obviously like my body's not the same. So like my whole like feeling sexy thing has definitely, especially after like going through a period where like I got super fit and like took care of myself constantly and like ate great and like could literally fit like a like two tits in like my old bras. Like it was just crazy to have to go back to like bigger, like not that I'm big now, it's not. It's just a matter of like in my mind what I feel and see. It's all like a
Mm-hmm.
play on the eyes, a play on the feel, all of that. And like my thing is like I don't mind like tummies. Like tummies don't bother me. Like yeah, it bothers me sometimes. I'll be like, oh, this is a little pouchy. I should probably stop snacking on some ice cream. Snack on, I might lose a pouch. But it's my back fat that bothers me. And like I feel like it's just like it I didn't have like all that like until I had the kids, because like my body shape just changed. And like it will mess with me in the sense of like my level of confidence in certain things. So like it'll make me only want to stay in vanilla positions or want to stay in that safe space because I'm like not confident in myself. So I'm not confident to like even take that leap to step out of that, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes
Um,
sense completely.
yeah. And so that's kind of been like the like the like reoccurring thing that will come up. Like it's not like a consistent thing. It's weird. It's just like since we've had the kids, it's just like sometimes actually now that I'm thinking about it, this might actually really coincide with my cycle. And I get really bad. Like I've actually considered going to a doctor to see if I have any type of weird mood disorder with my period, because um I get extremely depressed like right before my period. Like every single like clockwork. And I don't even realize it until I'm in that space and I'm like, oh no, I think I'm like, what's the date? I'm like, oh shoot. Like I'm gonna be depressed for a week. God dang it. But then like after that, I'm like ready for the world. Like I'm ready to like do it all. Like I'm running for Congress. Like that's how hyped up I am. Like it's severe dip and tip.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really psychedelic. Like it's not probably healthy. So I should get that checked out. It's only been like that with since after the kids though. Like everything's changed after the kids. So I don't know. It's taken me a while to realize it, to be honest with you. But now that we're talking it out loud, I see it so clearly.
Fair enough. And I think like and even like kind of like piggybacking on that, I think that is part of like my like disconnect is because like I don't feel like I've ever like I mean at some points obviously like I was in better shape, so I definitely felt more confident in my body. But I think that is part of it is like you just not feeling completely confident and comfortable in like my physical body. And I think that's definitely part of like why there's like a disconnect there. And I don't think that's just like a me thing. I think that's common with like women across the board, even women who you would assume are like supermodels or like super in shape or super attractive or like have the ideal body type, whatever it may be. Like that does not mean that they always feel 120% like sexy or like confident in their ability to portray themselves as a sexual being. And I definitely think, especially in society where you are now like, you have so many people who don't want to be seen as a sexual being or like this sexual person only because you don't want to be judged by guys or you don't want to not get like, because now like it's become this thing where it's like, well, guys can have sex as much. I mean, it's not become a thing. It's been a thing. We're like, oh, well, guy gets to have as much sex as you want to, but the minute a girl has sex with more than like 3 people, she's a hoe.
Mm-hmm.
Blood or whore, whatever you want it to be. And it's like, that doesn't even make any sense because if a guy's having a bunch of sex, who is he having sex with? Like, and I guess they just expect the woman to have like a couple of those and then like get that out of her system. I don't know. Like, again, double standards. Do not like them. And that's definitely one of the bigger double standards in society. And I think that's why there's such a disconnect between the sexuality of men and sexuality of women. Because in a sense where like we don't let men have emotions and we don't let them cry or be, you know, sad or anything that's considered a feminine emotion, sexuality and masculinity go hand in hand. And we've allowed men to be able to express themselves sexually for so long without it being seen as a deterrent. Where on the other hand, like, you've conditioned women to some sense to only enjoy sex if it means that you're having a child or you're trying to create a child, or it's in this like confines of this established determined relationship. And it's like, it's not fair because then you create these instances where like women do not enjoy sex or they're afraid to have it or they don't like it or whatever it is, because it's like you've made it seem so like the only way you should be able to do this. And there are still women who believe this or people who believe this today, that the only time you should have sex is to create a child. What if you just want to have sex because it feels good or because you want to or whatever? Like, that should be allowed without you being judged based off of some preconceived notion that somebody else has told somebody else who's told somebody else. Like, and I think that that's something that's definitely coming to a head. Be it because of feminism, be it because of how we're raising our children now, men and women, however you want to look at it. Like, that's definitely something that's creating a divide between the sexes, because there are women who don't want to be married. There are women who don't want to be mothers, but that does not mean that they don't want to ever have sex. And especially in a post like Roe era, like that's becoming more and more of a conversation because like, and it's not even just women. There are men who don't want to be married. There are men who don't want to have children. Like, that is a choice you are free to make. And like, you should not be guilted one way or the other because of your sex, of who or your gender. And I think that's really part of like getting back to this overall topic. What does it mean to be a woman? Like, I think that if all of you've ever been told is that being a woman means you're a mother, a wife, and, you know, a homemaker in a sense, like that can really affect your mental state or your mental health when that doesn't happen for you, or you realize that's not something you want. Like, or you feel as if you can't fully explore your sexuality because you feel as if you should only have sex within these very specific instances in these confines. And I think that the more that we talk about it and the more we address like sexuality and feminism and femininity and like just being open in general as a society, is when you start seeing more growth and more healthy relationships. Because like, as much as men may complain about like women being on the cock carousel, like the more that experiences they have, and the more like, and this is some cases, some men, like this is seen as like a negative, but the more experiences you have and the more like, oh, I don't like that and I don't like this moments that you have, the more that you can enjoy the things that you're doing and clearly express those to other people. Because I think that's kind of what that kind of is like the bottom line in sexuality or sex in general, is that like, if you don't know what you want and you don't know what you like, you can't tell somebody else that. So like,
Yeah.
you're not having the sex that you could be having, or the reaching like the levels that you could be reaching, because you're not having these conversations. A, because you either are uncomfortable to do so, or because you literally just do not know. Like, you haven't had enough experiences, even if it's with the same person. I'm not necessarily saying you have to ride every day between here and like Tennessee to understand this, but like, but if you want to, I'm not gonna be the one to judge you or to stop you. Like, do what you got to do. But I think that very dichotomy is what makes people like have very extreme reactions one way or the other.
Yeah.
Or like responses one way or the other.
Yeah. I agree.
That was a lot, but
I
just, I
agree.
don't
I
know.
mean, it's powerful words. It's the truth.
Yeah. And I just
In my
think
opinion.
that the more we allow for open conversation, and obviously, and actually this is part of the like the podcast that I really want people to kind of like comment on and like kind of give their 2 cents on. I think that we'll have, like I said, better relationships, better conversations, better family units, better like everything. Because like sex is a basic human need and a basic human condition. And it's been so like villainized, taboo and like villainized and demonized and like just created into this dirty, like unclean thing.
Sinful.
Yeah, it's like, it's, and like it just, it doesn't need to be and it doesn't have to be. And the only thing you're doing when you do that is creating more issues and more problems. And like, I think that if you want to be, a traditional wife, and you want to be a submissive, and you want to, be a stay-at-home mom, and you want to do this, that, and a third, that is 100% your right and your choice. But I want it to be your choice. Like, I don't want you to think that you have to do this, because that's not fair to you, and that's not fair to your family. And that's when you get women who are in these positions of like being the mom to 2 kids and having this husband and having this house, who realizes when she wakes up one day and she's 40, she's like, I don't want to do any of this. I don't want any of this. I want to be able to like, sleep with who I want to sleep with, or, experience different things, or go somewhere without being seen as just, oh, you're, such and such's wife, or you're such and such's mom. And we create such an identity for women out of, ironically, we want women to not be sexual and want them to be, the Madonna in a sense, and like very like virginal and clean and like pristine and young and like whatever verb you want to put in there, or noun. But at the same time, when you address her, it's like, oh, well, you're Mrs. whatever. Like, or you're such and such's mom, like I said. And it's like, but that means that all I'm good for is my sexual like / biological like aspects. But yet you've already told me that that's not something that I should like embrace or like be comfortable with. So which is it? Should I not embrace it and not be comfortable with it? Or should I be okay with just being somebody's, in a sense, possession? Yeah. Like it doesn't make sense. And you create such this divide and dichotomy within women that like you either get women who don't want to have sex and are completely one way, or you get women that are completely like, oh, I'm just going to have sex with whomever I want to, wherever I want to, however I want to, and kind of figure it out along the way. And of course, there's obviously people in between. But when you create something that can have such extremes, you don't help either sex. Like, you don't help anybody. You just create a situation where you're having so many unhealthy and repeatable like issues. passed along to different people, to different women, to different family members down. Like, this is like how you start generational traumas and issues, because you don't address anything. You just continue to have this like laissez-faire approach to like, you know, sex, marriage, children, like the whole what does it mean to be a woman thing. Like, and I think that the more, and again, like I said before, like we have taught women a lot about being, you know, more independent and more, you know, whatever you want to do, you can do it. But until we do that the same way for like the sexual aspect of being a woman, we're still going to be in the same cycle. And it's never going to actually be any true growth. And the same could also be same for men. Like, until you feel comfortable truly expressing yourself emotionally, it's still going to be the same cycle. Like, both sides have things that they need to address and work on that the other side either has already like mastered or has already been comfortable enough to discuss, in a sense, to like grow and like make better, or to, you know, fix in some sense.
It's almost as if we have the opposite things to work on, you know?
Yep. Yeah. Because that's what we've said is okay for men to work on. And then we've had things that like I said, it's okay for women to be emotional. It's not okay for men. It's okay for men to be sexual. It's not okay for women. The minute we flip flop those and allow the others to work on those and build on those skill sets and become more open, is when, like I said, we'll have more organic conversations and we'll have better, like, basic understandings of relationship. And I also think that, like, it's okay to want different things. Like, it's okay to want different sexual things. It's okay to want different types of relationships, which we can do a whole nother podcast on that, like monogamy and like, you know, polyamorous and polygamy.
Yeah, I feel like this won't be the only topic on this, or podcast topic on this type of thing.
But it is okay to want to have a non-traditional relationship, a non-traditional sex life. And while I hate to say 50 Shades of Grey is like what kind of opened that can of worms in a larger scale, it kind of is. Like, it's not a great or necessarily healthy like example of it, but it created the conversation. And sometimes that's just what you need. And it has allowed other people and other types of life to become more mainstream, acceptable, or at the very least not as taboo. And that's, I think, amazing. And I think that's beautiful. And I think that that's things that the conversations still need to keep happening around. But I think that means that, again, you have to be okay with, as a woman, talking about her sexuality and not be like, oh, well, she's a slut because she had sex with 5 people. Like, no.
I mean, we do it. Yeah, we do it to each other. I mean, we'll be like, look at that hoe. Like, yeah. Or like, we don't like some girl's outfit because she looks too good, and we're like, ugh. So we'll be like, hoe. Her skirt's off short. It's because like I didn't have the confidence to wear my short skirt that night, so I call her a hoe. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, girl.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't help the situation, and it only further ingrains in yourself this self-hatred of being a sexual person. And this, like, just because she wore a short skirt doesn't make her a hoe. It just means she felt confident and wanted to wear a short skirt. Like, I think that we reduce each other, especially as women, to such simple, like, entities that doesn't fully encompass who we are as people. That's what I said about my definition of femininity or feminist, is being not just reduced to who I am biologically. Like, what about who I am, like, as a person? What about who I am mentally, spiritually, physically? Like, just all encompassing, all embodiment of being a full person. Because, like, you don't just judge a guy by whether or not he's had sex with how many women. You're like, oh no, this guy's good at football, or this guy's really good at coding, or he's like really good with numbers, or, you know, he's super nice to people, like to people he doesn't know, or, you know, he helps his mom, or like all these things that you can list as a guy that, like, as a woman, you don't necessarily get the same benefit of.
No, I mean, it goes also back to my definition of it too, where it's like, just like embody a woman to do what feels good to her and support that. Like that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and like
so yeah. That was
I'm
definitely
sorry, Troy's like screaming downstairs. So I'm like trying to figure out what's going on. I was like,
and then he
I
just
heard him
stopped.
through my AirPods. It's getting close to bedtime, so that's probably why.
Oh yeah, it is. So yeah, that's definitely my soapbox for the day. I definitely just talked for the majority of this
Mic drop.
second half. But I definitely it's just something that I've definitely been dealing with. It sounds like it's like a problem or something, but definitely something I've been like exploring and like trying to come to terms with my own sexuality as a person, like I said, who doesn't want to be seen as like a sexual being while also being an extremely sexual person. And obviously that's something that definitely kind of grows and like develops as you get older. But I definitely wish at times that I was more liberated in who I felt like sexually.
I feel like it has to do with a lot of this is me just kind of like going with the vibes of what I just came to mind right now. This is how our conversations go when we're like having calls. Guys, this is how we work. But I feel like it's about like reframing what you think of sex. Like I feel like, you know, like you kind of, even though you say, you know, you weren't brought up with this extreme like Catholic type of mindset with sex, you definitely were brought up with a very like negative kind of mindset around sex. You know, don't be a hoe, don't have teen pregnancy. It's all like no, 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 no. It's all, you know, negatives. No, no, don't, no, don't. So I feel like if you can like reframe and rework like your brain and say like sex is not a bad thing. Like, you know, you keep saying that to yourself out loud. You're like, yeah, sex is not a bad thing. We all need to talk about this. Like really just keep working on it and viewing it more as like a sacred act. And I hate to say spiritual because like that to me then takes it into a space of like this realm, you know, God and all this. But I mean like sacral and sacred in the sense of like sacral, like your sacral chakra, your root chakra, your purpose of choice, and your sense of home space. And your sense of home space is yourself, no matter what. Like no matter who you belong to, no matter who you keep kids, this and the other, your space is yourself, like your home. And so you need to like work that and nurture that and cleanse that. And so like reworking that mindset frame to say like this is like a sacred opportunity for me to connect to myself. It takes, I feel like, some of that pressure off and allows you to feel more internally than just externally, because when you can start to feel internally, then you'll feel a lot more externally. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Agreed.
On that note, we really should try to get my friend, you remember On? Yeah. She would probably love to come on here. She has been doing a lot of work to become like a sex coach and all kinds of stuff. And she's like, if you look at her Instagram, she's got some good stuff going on. We should definitely try to bring her on here. She would have some great stuff to say.
No, I'm totally. We should.
That would be a whole episode.
Yeah,
like she can like how like, she could be a 2.0 two-parter episode.
Yeah. I think we should do that. So definitely think this is the ongoing conversation. And I think that this kind of
for sure. I would love to hear what people's conversation like their
that's what I was gonna say. I kind of really want to see what people have to say on the comments about this episode and just like what their views are, how they feel, or kind of just like their experiences, and just we're not experts, obviously, because neither one of us have the answer. But that can definitely be what kind of like we bring on for is like responding to some of the, you know, people that were like have comments and questions or whatever it may be, and kind of like how to address those and how to deal with that. Because I think that is definitely something that a lot of women struggle with. And I think that's kind of the point of this podcast, is just creating, like that said, that space to be open to have those discussions. And I even said when we like chose this topic, which we definitely like jumped feet first into this whole thing, I said that this could definitely be something that we definitely revisit like at the end of the podcast for the like season 1 of the podcast, just to see if like our definitions have changed, if our viewpoints have changed, if our own experiences have changed, just based off of what we've kind of said and what we've opened the door for, in terms of creating some type of like positive space for discussion and growth and embracing of what makes you different. Yeah. Because like ironically, Steph has always been like, you're such a sexual person, I don't know what your problem is. And I'm just like, okay, bitch, whatever. But and it's ironic because I literally was like, Mike said something the other day about how like what did he say? He was like, well, I could just tell that like you were more of a submissive person. I was like, what do you mean? Like I got so offended. Like I was like, what are you trying to say? I mean, he wasn't wrong. Like I definitely would consider myself a submissive person in the bedroom, but like how the hell do you know? Like you just met, like day one you already knew that? Like what are you saying to me? Like it's somebody who definitely feels like in the words of Peyton Sawyer was like, I'm like a riddle wrapped inside of like a bitch or whatever it was. Like I just always thought that I was so
I'm almost done.
Unreadable. And apparently that's not the case. I guess not the case to some people. So yeah, definitely an interesting little tidbit that I discovered. But I think this is a good place to kind of wrap it up. So
it is because Brennan just came in on me and was like, you guys took a lot longer than you said. I told him 45 minutes. It's been an hour and a half. So
it's been like 2 hours.
Yeah, the kids are gonna get to bed soon, so I can't miss that time.
So yeah, so this has been I guess part 2 of episode 2. Please comment whether or not you hate this.
Like, share, subscribe.
Yeah, like let us know if you completely hate this. Let us know if this format works for you. We can always
let us know if you want more.
Yeah, and just like share your experiences. Like I said, this is a safe space. Like, however you're viewing this, like if you're on Apple Podcasts, whatever, like however you can leave a response to this, please feel free to do so. And we will definitely read it. And like if you want to send us an email, we'll have our email somewhere. So 90s. Send me an email. But just like I definitely this is definitely one of those topics where like I definitely want to hear what people have to say. And I definitely want to like hear what people have to say and kind of what their experiences are and because I know everyone comes from different places, different backgrounds, different family units. And just want to see like if there's like a commonality between us, if we're all, kind of like going up the stream without a paddle or what it is. And just kind of, like I said, curious to see kind of where everybody is. So on that note, this has been another episode, a juicy episode, a scandalous episode, a lot more discussion of sex than I was expecting. So if either one of our parents are listening to this, please don't. Even though this is the end of the episode, but
just edit that to the beginning or something.
But
get back in my pants again.
We will be back next Tuesday, with probably just as scandalous and as extra of a topic. And if you have, like I said, any specific comments, concerns, topics you want us to talk about, reach out to us in any way that you can connect people these days, and we will see what we can do.
I agree. Peace. I don't mean to keep yawning. It's late, you guys. I feel like I just exerted so much energy.
This was definitely a deep one. Yeah.
This was a deep one. This was a good one, though.
Yeah.
Power to it.
Peace I'm to here for it. All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.